Hey there, thank you for tuning in to the channel. If you're new around here, like, comment, drop a subscribe, and now, enjoy the video. The first thing to consider is the obvious weaknesses in our team. Firstly, we've been crying out for a leader at centre-back for a long time. Looking at right-back, Ashley Young's not good enough to start there next season. Even if he's club captain, he shouldn't be playing. At central midfield, we clearly need a new player to replace Herrera, and right wing, we've been weak for a long time and it hasn't been replaced. Looking at my recent video, Problems at Manchester United, the manager's perspective, the problem we seem to have quite often is that we have a lot of players who like to play on the left or in the middle. So Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba, Rashford, Martial, they all gravitate towards the left, and then you add in Luke Shaw overlapping from left back as well, and we end up with a cluster of 4 or 5 players in every single attack out on the left hand side. This makes it really hard for us to attack because we're making the pitch smaller rather than bigger. And it also makes it easier for the opposition to defend, switch the ball to the other side of the pitch, and then counter-attack and score against us. The way we can fix this for next season is by getting in a good right winger so that we can attack down the right-hand side as well. And if we strengthen this with a good right-back and a good quality central midfield player playing on the right of a midfield 3, then we're all good. We're going to improve the team massively. Starting with the right wing position, we've been heavily linked with Daniel James, and I expect a deal to be done for Daniel James soon. Obviously, he's had an unfortunate family incident, so it's only right that United give him space and time to sign contracts when he's ready, etc. This is not the time for contracts. You've got to be understanding of the position he's in. Also, I think if we do sign Daniel James, I wouldn't expect him to be a guaranteed starter at the moment. He's still young, so I think signing Gareth Bale on a loan deal, as it's been rumoured that we could do, would be a fantastic option, because he's clearly not wanted at Real Madrid. If he plays well at United, we can keep him, make it permanent, and if he doesn't, we can ship him off back to Madrid and he's theirs to deal with. If we don't sign either of those two, though, and I think if we do sign Daniel James, signing an established player would be a very good idea, because James really not necessarily ready yet for starting. I think Nicolas Pepe from Ligue 1 would be a fantastic signing. He's had a brilliant season, plays out on the right, he's very quick, he's 5'10" and fairly strong for his size, so he'd be a good player for us on the right hand side. I think he'd be a good option. Looking further back on the right hand side at right back, we've been linked with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, whilst he's a fantastic player and would be a very good signing, I think for a lot of money, like 50-60 million, which we're looking like we're going to have to pay for him, I'm not sure he's the best option, for the reason that he blocks up the pathway for Diogo Dalot. Now, Dalot, this season, he's been very good going forward, but defensively he's been suspect. So I think what we should do is sign an established player, such as Thomas Meunier from PSG, for 20 to 30 million, saving us money in this position, and Meunier would be very good to do a job there for a few seasons. He'd be a very good right-back, exceptional player, and then eventually Dalot can succeed him and play there for a long time for United to come. Looking at the weakness we've got at centre-back, the obvious replacement for, well, everyone, is Kalidou Koulibaly. We need to get rid of Jones and Smalling for a start. Personally, I'd like to see Marcus Rojo stay, but Jones and Smalling have got to go. We need to get Koulibaly in. He'll have a similar effect, hopefully, to what Van Dijk did at Liverpool. And, I mean, he ticks all the boxes, really. If you want to get a centre-back, the best place to find them is Serie A. Italian defending, that's the best place to get it from, really. So if we don't sign Koulibaly, I think Milan Skriniar is the next best option. Hopefully we can get in one of those two, and they'd be my top transfer target out of any position going into next season. Lastly, for the last glaring weakness in the team, central midfield. When we're losing Ander Herrera, we're losing a defensive presence on the right-hand side of the 3, which was so important when we were playing in clusters out on the left, that we had that defensive presence on the right to stop some counter-attacks, which is why when Herrera was injured under Solskjaer, we lost over half our games. However, as I touched on in my video, Problems at Manchester United, the manager's perspective, looking at Herrera, we don't necessarily need someone as defensively strong in midfield if we were to find a good right-back and a good right-winger, because we'd be able to use the whole pitch then, keep the defence spread out, and it would mean that we wouldn't have this problem of clustering on one side, leaving us horribly exposed down the other side. So I think for the right midfield position, right attacking midfield position, I think the best signing we could make would be Bruno Fernandes. He's a very direct player, likes to run at opposition, take them on, very good long shots, good shooting all round. He's a fantastic player to play alongside Paul Pogba in the attacking midfield role, with a hard-working defensive midfielder in behind them. As well as Bruno Fernandes, we've also been linked heavily with João Felix. Now, with João Felix, I think, although he's clearly a fantastic player, very highly rated, I think spending 100 plus million on him is not a wise decision because he's still very young. He could very easily turn out to be the next Memphis Depay. Yes, he has fantastic potential and could be incredible, but I think it'd be wise to spend that money on more established players such as Bruno Fernandes, who've still got a long time to come. He's still young, but at least we know what we're going to get with him. We know he's going to be a fantastic player if we were able to sign him. Now, looking at the midfield as a three, I think Scott McTominay needs to be given a lot more game time next year, whether he plays in an attacking midfield role like Bruno Fernandes or the more defensive role, which he's equally adept at doing. However, I think for that defensive role, rather than someone who's static and screens the defence like Nemanja Matic, I think we need to sign someone who can run for days and is more athletic. The obvious option would be Wilfred Ndidi from Leicester, Idrissa Gueye from Everton, he's also been one we're linked with. I think the player I'd most like to see though is Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon. I think he's a fantastic athlete, runs very well, very strong, but he also offers stuff in an attacking sense. He's good at starting attacks, and when he gets in the box, he can score. So I think he'd be a fantastic player to sign, and I think he should be a top target for us in the defensive midfield role. The final thing to talk about will be if players leave. Firstly, if De Gea leaves, I don't think we need to spend big to replace him because we've got Sergio Romero. He's the first choice Argentinian goalkeeper, fantastic for us whenever we've needed him. Like, he won us pretty much that Europa League in goal. He made some terrific saves a couple of years back. He's definitely good enough to step up. Also, we've got Dean Henderson, who, if De Gea leaves, I'd like to see him stay with United rather than go back on loan to Sheffield. And Joel Pereira as well. All fantastic goalkeepers, so I don't think we need to spend big to replace De Gea if he were to leave. Paul Pogba, on the other hand, if he were to leave, I think we would need to spend big to replace him. I think Bruno Fernandes would be the prime replacement for him. If we can't have him playing alongside Pogba, then I'd still like to have him in the team if we could. Alternatively, I think Paulo Dybala could be a good replacement for Pogba. He's similar in the sense that he drifts in and out of games, but I think Dybala isn't as suited to our team as Pogba is, therefore I prefer that Pogba would stay. I think for the attacking midfield role that Pogba plays, I think Jesse Lingard could be given a chance there as well, because he's very good at playing one-touch passes. I think that he'd be very good playing in the midfield rather than coming off the right, because when he comes off the right, he leaves nothing behind him. So he's not stretching the defence there. Whereas when he's playing in midfield, if he decides to cluster on the left, it's not so much of a problem if we've got a good right winger there as well. So I think Jesse Lingard, given a run of games in that attacking midfield spot, could be very good as well. Now, on the screen, you should be able to see my preferred lineup for United next season, assuming we pull off most of these transfer signings. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and go and check out my YouTube channel, Burley Flea MUFC. Thank you.